The story begins in a hospital where a baby girl is born. Instead of celebrating, her father Harry is frustrated by the news. His anger grows even stronger after hearing about the hospital bill because he is extremely stingy. Harry and his wife Zinnia treat their newborn with shocking carelessness and place her in the trunk of their car as if she means nothing. The couple is so dishonest that everyone in their neighborhood knows about their behavior. After reaching home, they even forget that the baby is still inside the car. What they don't realize is that their daughter has been born with extraordinary abilities. They name her Matilda. Within just a few days, Matilda is already able to recognize and write her own name, something no ordinary baby could do. Despite this, Harry and Zinnia pay almost no attention to her and rarely care for her properly. By the age of 2, Matilda has become surprisingly independent. She learns to take care of herself without anyone's help. Every morning, her older brother Michael leaves for school. Harry spends his day selling cars through dishonest tricks, while Zinnia goes out to gamble with her friends. As a result, Matilda is left home alone almost every day. Instead of wasting her time, she happily prepares her favorite breakfast by herself. By the time she turns 4, she has read every magazine in the house, even though she has never attended school. One day, Matilda politely asks her father to buy her a book. Harry immediately refuses and says, "Why do you need books when there's a television at home?" At that moment, Matilda realizes she is completely different from the rest of her family. She understands that if she wants something, she will have to earn it herself. The very next morning, after everyone leaves the house, Matilda looks through the telephone directory, finds the address of the local library, and makes her way there alone. At the library, she meets the librarian, Mrs. Phelps. Mrs. Phelps first offers her children's books, but Matilda politely explains that she wants to read something more challenging. Whenever her mother goes out gambling, Matilda secretly visits the library and spends hours reading. Mrs. Phelps soon notices that the little girl finishes books far beyond her age level. Impressed by her intelligence, she offers Matilda a library card so she can borrow books instead of visiting the library every day. Matilda happily accepts the offer and begins reading even more books from home. This routine continues for years. By the time Matilda is 6.5 years old, she has read countless books, yet her parents still have no idea that she spends her days reading. Whenever Matilda sees children enjoying time with their parents, she feels lonely. Books become her only friends and the place where she truly feels happy. One day, Harry walks into her room and is stunned to find it filled with books. Confused, he asks how a 4-year-old could possibly read so much. Matilda calmly reminds him that she is no longer 4. She is 6.5 years old and should already be going to school. Harry snatches the book from her hands and throws it aside. He even asks Zinnia to confirm Matilda's age. To Matilda's surprise, her own mother also believes she is only 4 years old. Their mistake clearly shows how little attention they have paid to their daughter. Matilda once again asks to be sent to school. Harry refuses without even considering her request. Heartbroken, Matilda quietly walks away. Meanwhile, Michael teases her by throwing marshmallows at her. She sits alone and cries, wishing she could have friends like the children she reads about in her books. Little does she know that her incredible abilities are only beginning to awaken. One evening, Harry returns home in an unusually cheerful mood after making a large profit from selling cars. He asks Michael to calculate the day's earnings by adding up the buying and selling prices. Harry has cheated many customers throughout the day. Michael struggles to do the math. Matilda quickly works out the answer in her head and gives the correct total within seconds. Everyone is shocked. After checking the numbers, they realize her answer is completely accurate. Instead of praising her, Harry accuses her of showing off. He angrily warns her that trying to outsmart him will only bring punishment. Matilda quietly remembers his words and decides it is time to teach her father a lesson. Early the next morning, before anyone wakes up, she sneaks into her parents' room. She empties Harry's hair oil bottle, fills it with Zinnia's blonde hair dye, places it back exactly where it was, and quietly leaves. Later, Harry gets ready for work as usual and applies the liquid to his hair without noticing anything unusual. While getting dressed, he proudly tells Michael that one day he will inherit the family business. He boasts that his appearance helps him sell cars, which is why he spends so much time getting ready. But the moment he steps out of the bathroom, everyone is left speechless. His hair has turned bright yellow. Matilda struggles to hold back her laughter, while Michael and Zinnia stare at him in complete shock. Embarrassed, Harry grabs a cap and desperately tries to hide his hair. Later that day, he takes Matilda to his used car dealership. Unknown to him, law enforcement has already begun keeping an eye on his business because he is suspected of dealing in stolen car parts. At the showroom, Harry proudly explains the tricks he uses to fool customers. He sells cheap duplicate spare parts while falsely claiming they are genuine. He even repairs broken parts with glue to save money. When Matilda points out that this is dishonest, Harry simply replies that honest people never become rich. He also admits to rolling back car odometers so older vehicles appear newer and more valuable to buyers. Harry proudly teaches Michael every trick he knows about fooling customers. However, Matilda strongly disapproves of everything she sees. Determined to teach her father a lesson, she secretly glues his favorite cap to his head. A short time later, Zinnia arrives home in a cheerful mood after winning money from gambling. To celebrate, she takes the whole family out for lunch. At the restaurant, Zinnia asks Harry to remove his cap. Harry tries, but it refuses to come off. When Zinnia forcefully pulls on it, Harry screams screams in pain. Everyone in the restaurant turns to stare at them. Matilda quietly enjoys the hilarious scene. The situation quickly becomes even more embarrassing. Zinnia loses her balance, crashes into nearby tables, and creates a huge commotion. The family leaves the restaurant feeling completely humiliated. Back at home, Zinnia finally manages to cut the cap off Harry's head. Even then, small pieces of the cap remain stuck to his hair. That evening, the family gathers to watch television. Harry orders Michael and Matilda to switch off the lights. Michael obeys immediately. Matilda refuses because she's busy reading a book. Furious, Harry switches off the light himself, snatches the book from her hands, tears it into pieces, and forces her to watch television. Heartbroken, Matilda stares angrily at the TV. Suddenly, the television explodes without warning. Everyone is left frozen in shock. No one understands what caused the explosion. In reality, Matilda unknowingly destroyed the TV using her mysterious powers. Sometime later, the strict school principal, Miss Trunchbull, visits Harry's car dealership. She proudly tells Harry that her school is famous for discipline and that no naughty child can escape her rules. Harry immediately decides that Matilda should study there. He offers Trunchbull a discount on a car if she agrees to admit Matilda into the school. Trunchbull accepts the offer and purchases the car. When Harry tells Matilda that she will finally be going to school, she becomes incredibly happy. She excitedly hugs her father. However, she has no idea that she is about to enter one of the strictest schools imaginable. The following morning, Harry drops Matilda off at school. The moment she sees the building, she is surprised because it is nothing like she had imagined. Even so, she believes that studying there is still better than staying home. Just then, Miss Trunchbull appears. The entire school instantly falls silent. Every child is terrified of her presence. She always carries a cane with her. Matilda becomes frightened and quietly hides near her classroom. There, she meets two students named Lavender and Hortensia. Matilda nervously asks whether the principal really beats students with her cane. The girls explain that Trunchbull's punishments are far worse than that. They tell Matilda that she once caught a boy breaking the rules and threw him out of a classroom window. They also reveal that Trunchbull was once an Olympic athlete, which explains her incredible strength. The girls then tell Matilda about the chokey, a tiny dark cupboard filled with sharp nails where students are locked as punishment. Hearing this terrifying story makes Matilda even more nervous. A few moments later, Trunchbull notices a girl named Amanda because of her long hair. She orders Amanda to cut it before the next day. When Amanda refuses, Trunchbull grabs her by the hair, spins her around, and throws her across the playground. Afterward, all the students head to their classrooms. Fortunately, Matilda's teacher, Miss Honey, is completely different. She is kind, caring, and treats every child with warmth. Miss Honey welcomes Matilda and encourages her to answer questions without fear. During the lesson, she asks the class several mathematics questions. The students easily answer the simple ones. When she asks a much harder problem, the entire classroom becomes silent. Matilda confidently gives the correct answer. Miss Honey is amazed. She checks the calculation herself and realizes Matilda is absolutely right. Curious, she asks how Matilda solved it so quickly. Matilda explains that she loves reading books and studying mathematics. Miss Honey is deeply impressed by her remarkable intelligence. She immediately visits Miss Trunchbull's office and suggests that Matilda should be moved to a more advanced class. However, Trunchbull completely misunderstands her request. She assumes Miss Honey simply wants to get rid of Matilda. Angrily, she says, "If you can't handle her, I'll lock her in the chokey." She then throws Miss Honey out of the office. After school, Matilda returns home feeling excited. She eagerly tries to tell her mother everything about her first day. Unfortunately, her mother pays no attention because she is busy chatting on the telephone. Matilda quietly walks away, disappointed once again. That evening, while the family is watching television, someone knocks on the front door. Harry opens it and finds Miss Honey standing outside. He immediately assumes Matilda must have caused trouble at school. Without asking any questions, he starts shouting at Matilda and orders her to go to her room. Harry then tries to shut the door so he can return to watching television. Before he can close it, Miss Honey stops him and calmly says, "If television is more important to you than your own daughter, then you are failing as a parent." The story continues as Harry reluctantly allows Miss Honey into the house. Miss Honey calmly tells Matilda's parents that their daughter is exceptionally gifted. She explains that with the right education, Matilda could even attend college within a few years. However, Matilda's parents fail to understand the importance of education. Xenia insists that beauty and fashion matter more than intelligence. Harry mocks higher education, claiming that college graduates end up doing meaningless jobs. Miss Honey responds that when people are sick, they trust qualified doctors, and doctors become skilled only through education. She soon realizes that Matilda's parents have no interest in understanding her true potential. Before leaving, Miss Honey gives Matilda a new book. Matilda secretly watches her leave and feels a deep sense of happiness. From that day on, she begins to admire both her school and Miss Honey even more. The following day, Principal Trunchbull gathers all the students in the assembly hall. She announces that a boy named Bruce must be punished. Bruce's only mistake was eating a slice slice of the principal's chocolate cake. As punishment, Trunchbull orders him to eat an entire chocolate cake. The children become frightened, believing something must be wrong with it. Bruce refuses at first, but the principal forces him to continue. To everyone's surprise, the cake tastes delicious, and Bruce finishes it. Furious that he succeeded, Trunchbull brings out an even larger cake and orders him to eat that one as well. Bruce is already exhausted, but he has no choice except to continue. As he struggles, he begins losing strength. Just then, Matilda and the entire class cheer him on. Their encouragement gives Bruce the determination to keep going. With great effort, he finally finishes the entire cake. The students erupt in celebration. Trunchbull becomes furious and punishes the entire school by making everyone stay for an extra 5 hours. That evening, when Matilda returns home, she notices investigators standing outside her house. She tells her parents about them, but as always, they ignore her. A few days later, during a school outing, Lavender catches a small lizard and secretly keeps it. The following morning, Principal Trunchbull arrives at school in a terrible mood. Her car is broken down because Matilda's father sold her a faulty vehicle. Angry and frustrated, Trunchbull locks Matilda inside the chokey. Meanwhile, Miss Honey is helping Amanda fix her hair before class begins. At the same time, Lavender secretly places the lizard inside the principal's water jug. Soon afterward, Trunchbull enters the classroom and begins lecturing the students. She claims that the perfect school is one without children. Miss Honey discovers that Matilda has been locked inside the chokey. She quickly frees her and brings her back into the classroom. As Trunchbull reaches for her glass of water, the lizard suddenly appears inside it. The entire class bursts into laughter. At first, the principal has no idea why everyone is laughing, but the moment she notices the lizard, she screams in terror because she has an intense fear of lizards. Without any evidence, she immediately blames Matilda. Matilda repeatedly insists that she is innocent. Trunchbull refuses to listen and says that adults are always right. At that moment, Matilda stares intensely at the glass. Suddenly, it begins to shake on its own. A second later, the glass flies through the air. The lizard lands directly on the principal. Terrified, Trunchbull screams while the students laugh even louder. She eventually throws the lizard away but continues blaming Matilda for everything. Before leaving the classroom, she warns the students that she will be watching them closely and that anyone who misbehaves will face severe punishment. This is the moment when Matilda truly realizes that she possesses an extraordinary power. After class, Matilda tells Miss Honey what happened. She explains that she believes she moved the glass with her mind. Miss Honey finds it difficult to believe. To prove it, Matilda tries again by focusing on another object. This time, however, nothing happens. Even so, Miss Honey continues to believe in Matilda. She invites Matilda to visit her home. Matilda happily accepts. As they continue walking, they pass by Principal Trunchbull's house. Matilda notices a swing in the yard and curiously asks why it is there. Miss Honey then reveals her painful past. She explains that she grew up in that very house. Her childhood was happy until tragedy struck. Her mother passed away when she was only 2 years old. A few years later, her father also died under mysterious circumstances. After his death, her cruel aunt Trunchbull took control of the house. She treated Miss Honey harshly throughout her childhood. Even after Miss Honey grew up and became a teacher, Trunchbull kept the family home along with all of her childhood belongings, including her toys, photographs, and precious memories. Miss Honey shares this story because she knows Matilda also feels unloved by her own family. She reassures Matilda that difficult times do not last forever. She promises that one day everything will change for the better. This gives Matilda new hope. The two arrive at Miss Honey's small house. Miss Honey tells Matilda that she truly loves children. That is why she chose to become a teacher. She explains that education is one of the most valuable things a person can have. Matilda tells Miss Honey that she is very brave because she always believed adults were never afraid. Miss Honey smiles and gently replies that adults can be just as frightened as children. As they pass Principal Trunchbull's house, they notice her loading exercise equipment into her car. Just then, a black cat appears nearby. The sight of the cat startles Trunchbull, and she becomes visibly frightened. After a few moments, she drives away for her training session. Seeing this, Matilda excitedly says, "Now is our chance. Let's go inside and get your things back." Without waiting, she runs toward Trunchbull's house. Miss Honey has no choice but to follow her. The two quietly sneak inside. The moment Miss Honey steps into the house, old memories begin to flood back. She notices her father's old chocolate box and remembers how he used to share chocolates with her. After his death, Trunchbull never allowed her to touch them again. They carefully make their way upstairs. Miss Honey finds her old bedroom exactly where she left it. Inside, she discovers a photograph of her father. Matilda begins to suspect that Trunchbull may have been responsible for Miss Honey's father's mysterious death in order to seize the house. Meanwhile, Trunchbull's car suddenly breaks down on the road. Forced to return home, she heads back much earlier than expected. Matilda and Miss Honey are still inside the house when they suddenly hear Trunchbull's voice downstairs. She is angrily complaining on the phone about Matilda's father for selling her a faulty car. While walking through the room, Trunchbull notices that the chocolate box has been moved. She immediately realizes that someone has entered her house. Miss Honey and Matilda panic. Miss Honey quickly whispers for Matilda to escape through the kitchen door. Matilda runs toward the kitchen. At the same time, Trunchbull starts following the sound. To distract her, Miss Honey deliberately makes a noise upstairs. Trunchbull changes direction and heads toward the sound. Unfortunately, Matilda accidentally makes another noise in the kitchen kitchen, Trunchbull immediately turns back and walks toward the kitchen. Matilda rushes to unlock the back door, but it is locked. Moments later, Trunchbull enters the kitchen. She searches the room carefully, but finds no one. She suspects someone is hiding beneath the table. As she reaches toward it, Matilda cleverly clings underneath and avoids being seen. When Trunchbull looks under the table, she finds nothing. Just then, Miss Honey quietly opens and closes the front door. The sound makes Trunchbull believe someone has escaped outside. She immediately runs toward the entrance. Miss Honey quickly heads upstairs again. However, Trunchbull hears her footsteps and chases after her. Miss Honey rushes back downstairs, grabs Matilda, and both of them run toward the basement. Unfortunately, the basement door is locked. Trunchbull closes in on them. At the very last second, they squeeze through a small basement window and escape outside. In a fit of rage, Trunchbull smashes open the basement door. She tears through the house searching for them and even destroys one of her statues in anger. Meanwhile, Matilda and Miss Honey hide safely among the trees. Matilda angrily declares that someone as cruel as Trunchbull should never be a school principal. She promises that one day she will return and recover all of Miss Honey's belongings. Miss Honey immediately stops her. She warns Matilda never to enter Trunchbull's house again because it is far too dangerous. When Matilda returns home, she finds her mother talking to two investigators. Xenia mistakenly believes they are salesmen. A short while later, Harry arrives home. The moment he sees the officers, he angrily throws them out without listening. Matilda tells him they were actually police investigators. Harry ignores her and orders her to stay out of his business. Matilda becomes furious. As she stares toward the front door, she notices it moves slightly on its own. Harry continues yelling and walks toward her. Matilda's anger grows stronger. She focuses all her attention on the door. Suddenly, it slams shut and locks by itself. At that moment, Matilda finally becomes certain that she possesses extraordinary powers. She realizes that whenever she becomes extremely angry and concentrates, she can move objects with her mind. Determined to master her ability, Matilda begins practicing every day. She recalls painful memories of her family and Principal Trunchbull to strengthen her focus. Little by little, she learns to move spoons, glasses, milk bottles, and other household objects without touching them. With every practice session, her telekinetic powers become stronger. One day, while practicing, Matilda notices two investigators secretly entering her father's garage. Without a search warrant, they begin taking photographs and recording fake car parts. Quietly, Matilda uses her powers to move the box they are trying to inspect. She then confronts the officers and tells them that searching private property without a warrant is against the law. The officers coldly warn her that if the investigation succeeds, her father could be sent to prison. They also tell her that she would likely be sent to an orphanage. When Matilda realizes nothing is happening, she focuses on the investigator's car and begins moving it with her mind. The officers are stunned and rush toward the moving vehicle. While they are distracted, Matilda quietly steals their videotape, leaving them without any evidence against her father, Harry. That night, Matilda makes an important decision. She decides it is finally time to recover Miss Honey's belongings. She picks up her bag and quietly heads toward Principal Trunchbull's house. A strong wind blows as she approaches the property. Looking through a window, she sees Trunchbull busy sharpening her gardening tools. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Matilda sneaks beneath the window of Miss Honey's old bedroom. Using her telekinetic powers, she carefully lifts one of Miss Honey's childhood toys through the air and brings it safely to herself. As she climbs down, her ribbon accidentally gets caught in a nearby tree. Before leaving, Matilda also uses her powers to move the old chocolate box and collect a few chocolates. Meanwhile, Trunchbull senses that someone is outside. She immediately looks out the window. Matilda quickly drops to the ground and remains perfectly still, avoiding detection. Then she decides to frighten the principal. She begins moving the hands of the clock back and forth. Next, she slowly slides Trunchbull's chair across the floor. The principal is completely confused and has no idea what is happening. Matilda continues her plan. She manipulates the electrical system, causing the lights to flicker on and off. Then she magically throws open every window in the house. Finally, she removes Trunchbull's portrait from the wall and tosses it into the fireplace. In its place, she hangs a photograph of Miss Honey's father. Trunchbull is horrified. Matilda wants her to believe that Miss Honey's father's spirit has returned to reclaim the house. Terrified, Trunchbull rushes outside and drives away in panic. Before leaving, however, she notices Matilda's ribbon lying nearby. After examining it closely, she realizes that a student must have entered her house. Meanwhile, Matilda safely returns home after completing her mission. The next morning, she gives Miss Honey the recovered toys and chocolates. Miss Honey is both surprised and emotional. Just then, Principal Trunchbull storms into the school. She announces that she will personally teach Miss Honey's class that day. Meanwhile, Matilda quietly asks Miss Honey more questions about her late father. Miss Honey, still frightened, begs Matilda to return everything. She fears Trunchbull will become even more dangerous if she discovers the truth. She reminds Matilda that she had warned her never to enter that house again. Matilda calmly reassures her that everything will be all right. She explains that she never actually entered the house. Instead, she used her powers to retrieve everything from outside. At first, Miss Honey cannot believe such a thing is possible. To prove it, Matilda moves objects around the classroom without touching them. Miss Honey watches in complete amazement. She finally accepts that Matilda truly possesses extraordinary abilities. A few moments later, Principal Trunchbull enters the classroom in a furious rage. She orders every student to stand stand in front of her. She announces that someone broke into her house the previous night. Then she reveals the ribbon she found and claims it belongs to one of the students. Without any proof, she accuses Matilda. Trunchbull grabs Matilda by the neck. At that very moment, Matilda secretly uses her powers to control the chalk. The chalk begins writing on the blackboard by itself. It appears as though Miss Honey's late father is sending a message. The words read, "Return Miss Honey's house and money. Leave this town forever, or you will suffer the same fate." Trunchbull is terrified. Matilda then sends the chalk flying through the air, making it seem as though an invisible force is attacking the principal. The entire class bursts into laughter. Overwhelmed with fear, Trunchbull collapses to the floor. Moments later, she regains consciousness and, in a fit of rage, grabs a student and throws the child out of the window. Before the child can hit the ground, Matilda uses her powers to stop the fall. She gently lowers the student back down, right onto the principal. Seeing the once feared principal helpless, the students finally find the courage to stand up to her. They cheer loudly and begin throwing food in her direction. Realizing the entire school has turned against her, Trunchbull loses all control. At last, she climbs into her car and drives away, never to return. With Trunchbull gone, peace finally returns to the school. Miss Honey gets her family home back and begins a new chapter of her life. Matilda starts spending much more time with Miss Honey and finally experiences the love and care she has always wanted. However, their happiness does not last long. One day, Zinnia suddenly arrives to collect Matilda. She reveals that the police are searching for Harry, and the family must leave the country immediately. Matilda is heartbroken because she does not want to leave Miss Honey behind. Harry cruelly tells her that Miss Honey would never want a troublesome child like her. Miss Honey immediately steps forward and gently defends Matilda. She tells Harry and Zinnia that Matilda is an exceptionally intelligent girl and that she cares for her deeply. Overcome with emotion, Matilda asks Miss Honey if she would adopt her. To everyone's surprise, Matilda has already prepared the adoption papers. She hands the documents to her parents and asks them to sign. Zinnia signs without hesitation, admitting that she never truly understood her daughter. Harry, eager to leave as quickly as possible, signs the papers without even reading them. He also tells Miss Honey that he will not be paying for Matilda's upbringing. Ironically, this careless decision becomes the kindest thing Matilda's parents have ever done for her. After signing the papers, Harry and Zinnia leave. From that day forward, Matilda's life changes completely. For the first time, she experiences a home filled with love, care, and happiness. Miss Honey becomes the new principal of the school, bringing kindness and hope to every student. Together, she and Matilda begin a wonderful new life. The most heartwarming part of the story is that both of them finally find what they had been searching for all along, a loving family. With that beautiful ending, the movie comes to a close.